Am I the asshole for telling my late dad's ILs that their granddaughter is not my responsibility? I'm 19 male and my younger sister Kala 15 female lives with me. Our dad and his wife died 3 months ago. Mine and Kala's mom died when we were younger. Dad and his wife had been married for 4 years. His wife had a daughter, Lacey, who is now 5. When CPS became involved because both were left orphans, I stepped up to take my sister. I was already working full-time since I skipped college and I just about had what I needed to take care of my sister. They asked me about Lacey and I told them I just wanted to take my sister. Lacey was placed with her grandparents, my dad's ILs. They became aware of the fact Kala came to live with me and that I had been offered the chance to take their granddaughter and refused. Once they learned this they asked me why, and then pestered me about it for weeks. Finally they told me they were older and she could use as much family as possible and that she misses Kala, she wouldn't really remember me. I asked Kala if she wanted to see her and she said not really. So I told them we were not interested in staying in their granddaughter's life. They told me she's our little sister, that my dad would have wanted us to stick together. I told them I didn't care what my dad wanted. They said not to punish a child for the sins of my parent. I blocked them and continued on with things until they sought me out on social media via one of their older grandkids and told me that I should be ashamed of myself and their granddaughter deserves to be with her siblings and be raised by me since I'm young, fit and healthy and could run around after her like they can't, and will be around a lot longer than them. I replied once that their granddaughter is not my responsibility and that I wanted them to leave me and my sister alone, because we have no reason to be in touch ever again. That wasn't the end and they called me selfish and cruel a few times via another account. So I had to set my account to private to stop them. Am I the asshole? ETA. Making clear that Lacey was my dad's stepdaughter, not his daughter. ETA 2. I am a guy, not a girl. Just wanted to point that out because I have noticed a couple of people use the wrong pronouns for me and figured adding it here would help. ETA 3. Some info that keeps being asked. The bio dad is not on the scene. He could be dead but I really don't know. He never seemed to be in the picture though. He could also be unknown or something but there is no bio father involved. I also was not close to my dad. Neither was my sister. There was a lot of stuff involved there but I was no contact with him and everyone but my sister for more than a year before he and his wife died. So I had nothing to do with Lacey for more than a year. Wait. What? You're 19 and looking after your 15-year-old sister and they wanted you to take care of their 5-year-old granddaughter too? Not the asshole. They need to figure out how to provide care for their granddaughter. You are 19 years old. Taking care of a 15-year-old is a lot different than raising a 5-year-old. Sounds like Lacey isn't even related to you. Not the asshole. Her relatives can work it out amongst themselves. Guilt-tripping a 19-year-old is beyond the pale. If I understand correctly, Lacey was not your sibling. She was the daughter of your dad's wife from an earlier marriage. Why would you want to raise a kid that is not family? Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my son's teacher to speak to me, not my girlfriend? This happened a few weeks ago but the situation was brought up again recently. I, 28M, have a son, Nathan, 6M. I'm his sole parent because his mother lost the custody battle. His school was made aware of this when I removed his mother's details from their system and his current teacher for grade 1 has not met my ex. Due to the nature of the custody battle, his teacher does know about my ex for safety reasons as she has been barred from coming to the school to get him. Basically, she knows that if she ever sees me with a woman, it is definitely not my ex. His school has parent-teacher meetings twice a year, once before the Christmas break and another at the end of the academic year. I've been dating my girlfriend, Venus, 24F, for the past 8 months and she has an amazing relationship with my son. He likes her a lot and he asked me if she could come with me to the parent-teacher conference because he wanted her to hear that he's doing well at school. My son used to struggle with English as his mother tongue is Spanish. My Spanish is okay but Venus is fluent, so she helped him improve his English speaking by tutoring him. At the meeting, I noticed that the teacher was only speaking to Venus. She was making eye contact with her and only directing conversations to her. I found this annoying because although I know most primary parents are women, the teacher is well aware that I'm Nathan's sole parent. Venus kept redirecting the conversation to me and I did ask a few questions but the teacher would speak to me for a few seconds, and then go back to speaking to Venus only. Eventually, I said, I am sorry to interrupt you but I'm Nathan's father and I'd appreciate it if you spoke to me. The teacher seemed taken back and irritated, but she apologized and spoke to me for the rest of the meeting. I told my brother-in-law, sister's husband, about what happened and he thinks I overreacted. He said that while he does find it annoying when teacher only speak to my sister at meetings, he understands that it's not out of malice and just a force of habit since mothers tend to be more involved than fathers. He also said it was my fault for bringing Venus along to the meeting. He thinks it was an asshole move for me to interrupt the teacher and make her feel like she did something wrong for something that was most likely not malicious. It was brought up again at Christmas because Venus spent it with my family and my mother asked Venus if she had Nathan's inhaler and my brother-in-law interrupted and said, "Careful, my mom's name, Mark, me. Might freak now. I would like to put this situation to rest. Am I the asshole? Edit. I did tell the teacher that Venus was my girlfriend as soon as we sat down. Not the asshole. The teacher clearly knew you are a sole parent and yet she directed all her conversation to Venus, whom she is obviously meeting for the first time. She doesn't even know if Venus is involved in Nathan's life or not. Also, you were not mean or rude to the teacher, so your brother's comments are uncalled for. Not the asshole, but your brother-in-law is. That's your son, and you should be the one the teacher addresses, especially since she knows you have custody and Venus isn't his mother. Not the asshole, he's your son. And what your brother-in-law did was just rude. Not the asshole. It was a valid demand, and you made it perfectly politely. The difference between your BIL's experience and yours is that while the teacher may mostly talk to your sister instead of him at parent-teacher conferences, your sister is actually the kid's mother. Not so with Venus and Nathan. Am I the asshole for potentially getting a teacher fired over a joke? My brother, 23, and I, 22 female, have raised our younger siblings together for the past few years. Both our parents have died. The kids' teachers know our situation and are generally pretty good about it. Though we still get some comments at parents' evenings and correspondence from school is often sent to Mr. and Mrs., our surname. We are used to it and it's usually no big deal, sometimes pretty funny. What I did not find funny was my 14-year-old coming home from school saying he had a substitute teacher. The teacher works at the same school full-time but doesn't normally take any of our brother's classes, and as they took the register and saw his surname, the teacher said, "Another flowers in the attic kid. How many more of you are there?" Some of the kids laughed. Most apparently didn't really get it, and our brother was embarrassed but also didn't get the reference. A bunch of the kids Googled it in their next break and were laughing about it later on in the day. This teacher has taught our 16-year-old previously, for a year, so we had met them multiple times at parents' night. She has since told me they made comments to her too. When my brother came home and told me what happened, and asked me what flowers in the attic is, I was really pissed off. We have had several similar comments before and I don't find them funny, but it's next level out of order in my opinion to say something like that to a young teenager. Let alone in front of classmates. I complained to the school about it the next day. I went in a little strong but I was pissed. I met with the principal and another senior staff member, waited over an hour for them to be free. I told them at the very least I don't want any of the kids being taught by that teacher ever again. I think it will be dealt with after Christmas break, as this was right at the end of their last week. I got the impression they will likely be fired. My older brother followed up with an email to back me up and create a record of it. We saw some friends yesterday and told them about the incident. They were horrified but not at the teacher, at ME for complaining about it. They said it was a joke and I may have just cost someone their job. They think I overreacted and that it was pretty funny. They said of course people will make FITA comments because my brother and I are close and affectionate. I don't feel that I should need to say that it would never be anything like that, but to be crystal clear, there is nothing remotely sexual about our relationship. Our 14-year-old has been pretty embarrassed about it ever since. For the first time ever he asked me not to hug or kiss him when I dropped him off to meet his friends. He's worried about kids bullying him when he goes back to school. ETA. Just spoke to 16 Yo. She says she thinks it started after our first parents' night when this teacher met us and saw us interact. Most likely we arrived separately and my brother greeted me with a hug and a kiss on the cheek, forehead. I probably also had my youngest sister on my hip. Scandalous. 16 Yo says that might have given off family vibes. In reality I was probably stressed as hell because I hate parents' night and 16 Yo used to be a terror. Big bro was probably trying and failing to comfort me. Lol. ETA 2. A lot of people seem to think the teacher is just a sub. They are a full-time, regular teacher at the school. They just subbed for this one class for my 14-yo. Not the asshole. If the teacher loses his job, it's his own fault. That was an inappropriate joke. Not the asshole. What the hell was going through that teacher's head? That's absolutely disgusting. A teacher who makes incest jokes in a professional setting, towards a minor. Anything that happens to that teacher is on them. Not you. Not the asshole. What the heck was going through that teacher's head? That kind of joke is not only inappropriate and crass, but it made light of the heavy fact that the kid is an orphan being raised by his siblings and opened up a floodgate for bullying. No one with that little social intelligence should be teaching children. Sadly, it looks like some people don't understand the damage that teacher did to your brother. Hopefully he and his friends feel comfortable with the affection you and your brother give him after that teacher soured it for him. Am I the asshole for not sharing some of my sunscreen with my boyfriend? My boyfriend, 24M, and I, 22M, went to the beach on 12/25. As it is common here, it happened to be a sunny day, so you could get a sunburn if you didn't take some self-care measures. Both my parents are dermatologists, so my siblings and I are very aware of the importance of protecting your skin from sunburn and having a proper skincare routine. My boyfriend, on the other hand, doesn't give a SHT about his skin. No matter how much my parents have tried to convince him to wear sunscreen, he has never done it. When we got to the beach, I started putting on my sunscreen and he asked me to share some with him, but I refused to share since it wouldn't make sense to take care of your skin just once because he isn't doing it again. Plus my sunscreen is the one I wear on a daily basis, it's meant to be personal. He got mad at me. I told him to wear a hoodie so he could minimize sunburns, but he refused. Long story short, he got sunburns. My BF's skin was so red and felt hot to the touch, and it was painful for him. He called me an asshole for not sharing with him. He says he hasn't forgiven me yet because it hurts and the sunburn hasn't faded. My dad has seen him to get sunburn relief. My dad calls me the asshole because sharing some with him does cost nothing. But my mom says that this is a lesson for my boyfriend since this is his own fault. My mom had gifted him a sunscreen, but he decides not to use it. I refuse to share since it wouldn't make sense to take care of your skin just once because he isn't doing it again. BAHAHAHAHAHAH. What the fuck kind of logic is that? You can't be serious. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. Sunscreen is supposed to be personal. What an insane thing to say, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing. You are the asshole. You've been begging him to change and start using sunscreen. He finally makes an effort and asks for some? And you go on a ego trip and shut him down. What's worse, he got a really nasty burn. You basically injured your boyfriend to teach him a lesson. That's sadistic and fucked up. This relationship won't survive. Did you just say, it's meant to be personal, about fucking sunscreen? LMAOOOOOOO. You are the asshole. You are the asshole and too immature and petty to be in a relationship.